Here's the thing, right? I would agree with that. However, I played and role played in World of Warcraft during Shadowlands, and people would not shut the fuck up about vampires, and it made me so irrationally angry that I have changed vampires in my D&D world to be the opposite of that, just to fucking spite people. Like I refuse to have the vampires be like, welcome to my manor, like, you know, and they're like fucking taking a sip from their wine. Fuck you. They don't look at that anymore. Die. Yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand it, man. I just, like, it fucking ate me up. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that annoyed me the most is that people were role-playing the vampires from, like, Shadowland expansion. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. They wouldn't fucking leave the Shadowlands to come into Azeroth. You're fucking breaking our people. You can't tell them that. Because if they do, they get all shitty about it. So you just have to fucking ignore them, but they're everywhere. And they all want to be fucking fancy vampires, but they don't have the fucking right for the life of them. So it's just like, it's so fucking annoying. It's just, you're being obnoxious. You're just being obnoxious. Anyways, sorry.
The lore, the canon.
Yeah, you're fucking up my lore.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, they have to go find their vampire group.
Do you think you're alone in that sentiment? Okay.
All right, well, I'll see you here in a few minutes.
Good thing I stopped at that bonfire.
Do I think I'm alone in that sentiment? Okay, here's the thing. Is that Wormrest Accord, the server I played on, was, before it kind of just like disappeared, it was a very strict roleplay server. Like, it was the kind of roleplay server where if you did not know the lore of something else, people would kind of just not roleplay with you.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't tell you that you fucked up. They would not.
You would just get, like, ignored.
Yeah,
that's
because,
crazy.
yeah, so, because it just, like, there were so many people to roleplay with that were, like, really good at role-playing that it felt like you wasting your time with someone that was just not committed to it was a waste of time. And that sounds mean, but it was just, it was the nature of the beast. Inside joke lore, nothing like inside joke lore gatekeeping. It wasn't like, dude, it was just like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not gonna learn at least a little bit of the lore, why are you trying to roleplay? Like, I don't get it. Like, well, just fucking go PvP. Anyways, I know that's a really hot take, but I had to deal with so many fucking shitters. You don't understand, yo. Like, if you would be filled with vitriol too if you had to fucking deal with some of the stuff. Like, oh, dude, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you my favorite fucking lore moment. So someone used to be a Death Knight. And they were very edgy because of it, but they would like love the PvP, and they would be like, by the way, I'm wearing Serenite armor, which means it's the most strongest armor in the game, and you actually can't break through it because that's what a Death Knight has, right? I was so petty about this motherfucker that I looked up the Wowpedia article on Serenite and read that apparently this worm's venom can break through Serenite armor according to canon because of one line from a text. One line from a text in a quest, they said, hey, you can break through Serenite if you use this worm's venom. And I made a big RP event about me going out and grabbing it with like a bunch of friends. And then we went for this guy to start talking shit and being edgy. And then we said, yeah, let's fight. And he said, your armor, your fucking hit deflects off and you don't hit me. And I go, oh, well, that's crazy, because my character opens up a vial of this worm venom and throws it on your armor. Ooh, and your armor, according to the canon, by the way, because that's what you want to play as, that breaks through your armor, just so you know. And he was like, that's not right.
I have the wiki article right here to prove it.
He was like, that's not right, that's not right. I was like, oh, that's weird, because the WoW Gamepedia article says it is, and there's actually the quest right here. And I fucking, and the guy logged off. The guy fucking logged off, and I had never saw him again after that when we did that to him. When everyone was like, oh yeah, we throw venom on you, by the way, and we break your Serenite armor, and we broke his 1 RP power fantasy, we never saw him again.
That's so funny.
Fuck that guy, dude. He was so annoying. Everyone hated him.
Was this like... I'm trying to picture the environment of an RP server, because I've never really had anything like that.
The environment in like what way? Like,
is this just like a guy on the server you would run into?
Yeah.
Or is this someone you knew?
This was a guy in the server that you would just run into. So, the way it worked is that there's capital cities for each like faction in World of Warcraft, and Stormwind, which was the human capital, was like the place that, like, if you were on the Alliance side, you would go and hang out there. And a lot of people were too shy to do walk-up RPs. But like sometimes you just walk around and people would just be sitting on a bench doing nothing. They would just be sitting there. And then I would always make a place to like walk up and be like, hello there, and they'd be like, ah, like it would take them a minute, like they would, because they would leave their computer or they'd be alt tabbed because they were like, no one's gonna RP with me, like, oh, right. But if you slash waved at them, it would ping them and it would pop up on the taskbar that something's happened. And so I would purposely find people just sitting in the corner by themselves and then slash wave at them and it'd be like, hello, and it would take them like 5 minutes to think of a response because they'd be panicking on the other side, being like, oh my god, what is my character like? Oh, do they care about this? Right? So like you get different responses. You get like the render eye, like the void elves, basically. They would be like, some of them would be edgy and they'd be like, she doesn't like slash E, she doesn't really look at you, like she kind of was reading her book and she acknowledges with like a simple like kind of like noise, right? Like a subtle like nod. And then I would just keep bothering them until eventually I made friends. But because of that, everyone knew my character because I would just RP with everyone I could run into. And so I would like go to the town and I would walk around and they'd be like, yo, it's him, yo. And they'd be like, hi. And then like new people would be like, how does everyone know you? What the fuck have you been up to? What the fuck have you been doing?
That's funny.
Yeah, and it was like really cute because, you know, a lot of it is that a lot of people don't, they're scared to like walk up because they're afraid they're gonna get like bullied. But
yeah,
I think a lot of people are here to just have fun. Like there was a whole event that I did. There's a park area in Stormwind, and I made a whole RP where I would wait for people to walk by, and I would do like an emote of my character like staring at the bush, squinting at it, being like, and they would stop, and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, oh, do you think I could hop this? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I was like, I bet you could hop it. And then we'd like do like a roll to see if their character could hop a hedge. I had like 20 people gathered around this hedge by the end of it, of people being like, jump the hedge, dude, jump the hedge. Like people were like cheering random bypassers on, being like, I bet you can't jump the hedge. And they'd be like, I can jump that hedge. Or they'd be like, I'm not. Or like the really nerdy elves would be like, I'm not gonna do this, I'm too busy. But then they would like sit somewhere nearby to watch, and I'd be like, you said you're not interested, but you're still here. And they'd be like, no, I don't want to. And I'd be like, jump the hedge, man. And eventually they would like jump it. And so they do like, you could do like slash rolls in the game, so you could do like slash roll 20 and it would like roll 1d20.
I was curious because you kept mentioning that, and I was curious if it was like a built-in dice roller.
Yeah, it's a built-in thing. So most people normally do it for like loot rolling and stuff like that back in Classic, but now people use it for roleplay. So it would be like, yeah, you could also death roll. That's another thing. You know, so there would be like, you know, people would roll like the nerdy one would, and also you could have like profiles in World of Warcraft. There was a thing called Total Roll, RP, and you could like write a whole about page and like description, like physical descriptions and things like that, or like
cool.
first glances, and all that kind of stuff. And you could also change your name so they'd have like a roleplay name on it, rather than just using your in-game name. And you know, if they were nerdy, like a lot of times they'd be like, oh, my character's a -5 to physical task or physical stuff. So like they would roll like a 10 and then get a -5, and then they would like roll, like write a description of, you know, I keep bringing up the nerdy elf because it's one I think of where she tried to jump the hedge, but she described her foot getting caught on one of the branches and just face planted basically, and everyone was like, oh my god. And she was like, it's fine, I'm not, like, that didn't even hurt that bad. That didn't even hurt. Get it? Oh, okay, thank god. Yeah, but like she was like, that's fine, that didn't even hurt. And she's like very obviously trying to hold back tears, like from like trying not to cry. She's like, that's fine, I've lived like 10,000 years, that doesn't even hurt. Like I've been through worse pain, it's fine.
Did you say that the like character profile aspects are built into the game, or it's like a separate...
No, so it's a separate add-on that you have to get through CurseForge. But everyone...
Does it actually apply, like, if you were to do like a role in the game, does it actually apply stuff to that?
Yeah, so you can do roles with that. Yeah, it has...
cool.
So you could add like, oh, I have a charisma of this, or I have a... so you can make D&D builds, basically.
Yeah, that's fun.
I used to be part of a group that was like an all-elf like guild that was a roleplay one. I'm not gonna say the name just in case people would try to like look them up. But I was like their token human.
It was kind of a big deal.
It was kind of... well, I mean, they were maybe one of the bigger elf ones, actually, unironically. But I was their token human. And I don't know, I can't remember how I weaseled my way into it, but they would meet at this one area. It was like really elven, and I would just land it and just say like in slash yell, which is a big radius, like hello, hello, like that. And then like, you know, I'd walk up to the door and they'd be like typing out the remote with like this really dramatic moment where they're like, he takes her hand in his and looks her in the eyes and tells her that it's going to be okay. Or like, you know, he takes his hand in her and it's like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And then like, they're like, he'd be ready to type the emote and then they would put like a dash and it'd be like, but physically recoils when they hear, you know, my character's name yell through the once tranquil forest. And I'd like finger gun at them and be like, hi. And they'd be like, oh God. Like there was a moment where they had like this ancient basin they were passing around to like purify themselves. And they were like very daintily dipping their hands into the basin to like, you know, bestow it upon themselves. And they got to my character and my character was like, well, I mean, if everyone's doing it, and shoved both of his hands in the basin and then splashed his face with it. And it was like, all right, now I must be extra purified. And they were all like, oh, that's the ancient water of our goddess. He just did so much sacrilege. Ooh, and they were just like all like just stared at him. And I remember yeah, basically. And the guild leader of her character just like smiled. Like her only emote was she smiles weakly at Walter, my character, right? And that was like her being like, I want to kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you when this ritual is done, but I'm not gonna say it here because I'm not gonna ruin the mood. But I want you to know I'm going to kill you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Were you actually the only human?
Yeah, in that group. Yeah, I was the only human. Awesome. It was all 7-foot tall elves, and my character was like 5'11", normal human. And they were all like super ripped and badass, and I was just a guy.
Was that like kind of planned, or did you actually like weasel your way in?
I weaseled my way in. I 100% weaseled my way in. None of my RP was planned at all. I kind of just followed where the tides took me. Like the first people I met was someone called V and another person called Dell. Dell was a dwarf and V was like like a super tall Kaldori elf. And she had like scars all over her because she was like a hunter, and so she would like go out and tame wild animals, and like they would like chew her up basically. She had like a forked tongue and like piercings. She was pretty fucking metal. And they were the first people I met because I originally went on that server to troll people because my friends were in a Discord call arguing with each other because we just got done doing PvP, and they were like in a shouting match with each other because we lost. And I was like, well, they're gonna be at this for a while, so I'm going to just go fuck with some people. But then they knew the lore, which I knew at the time, and none of my other friends gave a shit about, and I was like, wait a minute. And I ended up spending that entire night and like way into the morning in one tavern in Stormwind called the Blue Recluse. And it was just packed with people just coming into the tavern and like sitting at tables and then people joining around them. Like the way that I met Dell and them is that I walked in and Dell was a dwarf and he was like, you know, in the accented dwarf style. And they're like, how are you? Like, you know, and he was like, come over here and take a seat or whatever. And I just joined them and we got drunk. And like we ended up dancing on tables and then like running around Stormwind, like jumping into the canal, and then the people that RP the guards were like, hey, fuck that shit off. And then we had to like run from the guards. And then V was just depressed the entire time because this panda would not stop telling this fucking story. And it kept going long. And so they just like roleplayed them just groaning and smashing their head against the table. Just like an annoyance. They were a great group.
That's
but
so
yeah,
cute.
that was
really
that's what started it. And I got sucked in for like 2 years of playing that shit. And,
I like how your intention was like, I'm gonna go fuck with some people, and
yeah,
then
and they won me over.
Your life.
It really did, yeah. And for 2 years, I dedicated myself to this character, and like, you know, I like yesterday I had someone come into my chat that was from the RP, and they were like, "Yo, dude, it's good to see you again." And I was like, "Yo, oh shit!" Sorry to just fucking rant about.
No, I enjoy that.
I tend to get caught on
like MMORP is something that I have always been like interested in, but have never really been able to engage with, and so I like hearing about it from other people's perspectives.
It was cool. Like they would have so there was like a Discord server and they would like host events basically. And their big one was the Bonfire Bash, which was every summer the Horde and the Alliance, both the role players on the server, would meet at this neutral place called Stranglethorn Vale and on a beach, and it would be hosted by these three kind of bigger role players that either like do art or whatever. And so they're kind of more well known. And they would host this bonfire bash that would go on all day, and there'd be like people from both sides meeting up, and you had to pop like a particular potion to understand what the Horde was saying. And it would go on for like hours, dude. It would just be people hanging out at this bonfire, and like, you know, I taught this one person was like, oh yeah, my elf has a kid, and like I taught their kid how to swim. Like that was like my RP during it. I was like,
That's cute.
yeah. Then we did like chicken fights and stuff. That's Vietnam down there. It used to be Vietnam. It used to be Vietnam a long time ago. Yeah, if you're on a PvP server, Stranglethorn Vale was hell on earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have screenshots from those days of like the RP logs and everything like that. So it was really fun. It was actually a lot of fun. The server kind of died basically, but yeah, it was a pretty interesting time.
Yeah.
I wish the server was still around like it used to be. I logged on. But yeah, the server just died one day. People kept saying the server was dead, and it scared everyone, so everyone left to go to Moonguard. And Moonguard has some of the worst fucking roleplay I have ever seen in my life. It is not even proper capitalization kind of talk. Like that's how bad it is, right? And it also has Goldshire, which is where people go to fuck and write ERP, and that kind of really ruins things as well.
Oh no.
And I desperately tried. I went to that one for like, I think I tried it one day, and I said I'm good, and I left, and I said I'm done with RP now. But that's the way it goes.
Oh, what the? Oh my! Oh, I'm gonna kill you. Ah. You're so fucking annoying. God damn.
Oh my god, dude. It was the way I so casually moved to the side.
I hate you.
I got another busy week ahead of me, boys. Gamers. Princesses.